Let's go to Brussels and correspondent Dave Keating. Dave, let's take this from the top. First of all, why, if you're going to start cutting the gas, why begin with Poland and Bulgaria?
Well, this is all about whether or not countries are paying in rubles. So Bulgaria just today reaffirmed they will not pay in rubles. Poland has also been refusing to pay in rubles. And so this is, as far as we understand, a retaliation for those countries not paying in rubles and probably a threat to other countries to get them in line. Although we don't fully understand the reasoning behind this from Russia. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said earlier that this is just blackmail, that this is a threat by Russia to try to coerce the West into lowering its sanctions, into stopping its help for Ukraine. But she struck a very defensive tone, a very adamant tone here earlier, where she said that the days of Russian fossil fuels in Europe are coming to an end, and there's nothing Moscow can do about that. Her main objective here, though, with this press conference was to reassure the markets, because the markets really did not like this news today. And she was trying to reassure the markets and the public more broadly that both Poland and Bulgaria can get gas from their neighbors, that the new interconnections and infrastructure that have been built to try to get the EU's energy market more connected over the past years are now going to come in handy because they can import that gas. And she says there is still a significant amount of gas in storage in neighboring EU countries. Whether the markets will be convinced by that is yet to be seen, because of course that only works for a while, and eventually you run out of gas storage. And especially if Russia starts cutting off the taps to more countries, to those neighboring EU countries that are apparently going to be providing Poland and Bulgaria with gas, then you really have a problem.
Yeah, because is there the feeling where you are that this is all a dress rehearsal for the day when Moscow decides, if it does, to cut the tap on Europe's biggest economy, Germany?
For sure. That's why everybody panicked when they heard this last night, because this is the day that Western Europe has been dreading, that the European Union has been dreading, because the European Union is so reliant on that Russian gas. And of course, they've tried to make a lot of steps over the past month to try to reduce that dependence. The Commission came out with this Repower EU plan. They're signing new deals to import liquefied natural gas from countries like Qatar, from the United States. The issue is it just can't get here fast enough, and there aren't sufficient port facilities to be importing it. And it's kind of a game of chicken at this point, because right now the Commission is drawing up plans to have an embargo on imports of Russian oil. And it's thought that eventually they might even include gas, something that was unthinkable just a few weeks ago, to be frank. So it's kind of who pulls the trigger first here. Is the EU going to stop imports of Russian oil and gas, or is Russia just going to stop sending it? And this, Russia pulled the trigger first here, and this could just be the opening salvo in a more broader cutoff of Russian gas to EU countries.
All right, there's oil, there's gas. Of course, we've been talking this week about the EU stepping up weapons exports to Ukraine. And we heard this Wednesday some saber rattling coming from Moscow. Let's listen.
If someone intervenes in events from the outside, this will create strategic threats that are unacceptable for us. They should know that our response to counterstrikes will be immediate and quick.
Dave Keating, how much attention 2 months on is Brussels paying to Vladimir Putin when he makes these kinds of speeches?
Well, there have been a lot of these kinds of speeches, right? There have been a lot of threats. A lot of them have so far turned out to be empty. And I think that in Brussels and other EU capitals, other Western capitals, they're just kind of getting used to these types of reactions. Now, of course, we had movement from Germany on sending arms and authorizing arms shipments for arms that were made in Germany, which is probably what prompted these latest comments. It doesn't seem to me that people in Berlin are particularly spooked by the reaction. It doesn't seem to me that people here are spooked by the reaction. They've just come to kind of expect these types of reactions from Vladimir Putin. And on the armament side, the biggest concern, of course, is the transport of the arms over to Ukraine. That what if Russia targeted these armaments as they're going through the EU over to Ukraine? You could have a potentially Article 5 triggering situation there. So I think that's the biggest fear now is, are these arms that are going to be easy targets, that are going to be very noticeable as they're shipped, and is the best strategy right now to be sending arms where you have a less of a likelihood that they could become targets or that Russia could target them? Because one wrong move here in either direction, and you could get into a very, very serious scenario.
Dave Keating, do not go far. We'll be crossing to you in the France 24 debate. That's in a little under 1 hour's time. Many thanks for that update from Brussels. Now.